Hello, welcome to another midweek message. Weather report first. Blue sky again over the north of me, over the downs. Absolutely blue sky. 6:30 in the morning, 16 degrees Celsius, 60 Fahrenheit. There's been an amber excessive heat warning all this week. It's going to reach 27 today, which is 80 Fahrenheit. But it's getting hotter, I believe, as the week goes on. We've had fires, even locally, just at Arundel, the back of Arundel, near Amberley. There's a whole field of crops. I don't know what sort of crops, wheat, grain, something like that, all gone up in flames, which is dreadful. Oh, by the way, 90% humidity. That's a lot, isn't it? 90%. 1026 millibars. Now, let's talk about lying, compulsive lying. Do you remember last Sunday's episode was all about compulsive liars? I've had a lot of response from people, a lot of stories. Now, I never relate on podcast episodes anything that people have told me unless I've got their permission. And I have the permission of someone, we're going to call her Jenny. I think I've used that name before. We call her Jenny. And I'm going to tell you all about her story on Sunday. It's rather sad. She went out with this chap. Well, no, I won't say anything now. I shall tell you all about that on Sunday. As I said, a lot of response, a lot of people contacted me about how they've been lied to, various situations, mostly relationships. I don't know why people have to lie in relationships. I knew a chap, going back years now, back to the 60s, my favourite era. He told me that he was a pilot in the war, flying, was it Lancaster bombers? I can't remember what, I think it was Lancasters. And it wasn't true at all. This other chap that knew him overheard him going on one night about flying these bombers, and he said, no, he wasn't doing that at all. He said he was in the army, not the RAF for a start. I forget what he did in the army, but the whole thing was just made up. Why say that? There was another chap I knew. He was a caretaker at a school, just a caretaker, nothing more, nothing wrong with that, which is fine. But he told people he was some company executive. He used to go off to work in a suit, shirt and tie, and a briefcase to this school. He told people he was some sort of executive. He turned up at the school, put his caretaker sort of, the brown coat thing on that they used to wear, and got on with the job. Then when he left to come home, he'd put his suit jacket back on and his tie, grab his briefcase. He probably had his sandwiches in his briefcase. He also lived in rented accommodation with his wife, and they had a couple of children, and he told people that he owned the house. I think someone like that must be lacking in something somewhere to have to lie about their job, about their house. They're obviously lacking in something. I don't know what it is. It's all rather weird. Well, I don't know. It must be the weather. 6:30 in the morning, there's a massive lorry outside. There's people milling around in the street. There's some kind of delivery going on. Crazy. I love getting up early because it's quiet, but it's it's not quiet this morning. I think they're delivering some building materials somewhere. Moving on to the garden pond, very little activity there. I haven't seen any frogs. Oh, we did move some rocks the other day. Well, I say rocks, old paving slabs we were moving down the end, tidying up. And a huge black, must be a toad, hopped out and hopped very fast right across the garden and hid somewhere behind the pond in the log pile, which we've got especially for insects and bits and pieces. So he hopped into there. But tadpoles have disappeared. The birds aren't eating a lot of bread that I put out, or the other bits and pieces we hang out for them. Maybe it's the heat again, I don't know. And the squirrels, I filled up the monkey nut box. They lift the lid to get the nuts. I haven't put any nuts in there for the last 3 days. I've seen squirrels hopping about, but they don't seem to be eating a lot. Must be the weather. Talking of eating, yes, it's breakfast time. Trish is downstairs making mushrooms on toast, sprinkled with a little bit of Worcester sauce on top. Rather nice. We're going to have that on the patio. We're going to watch the tortoise because he's out in the garden. The rabbit's out. He's having his breakfast. And I shall check up on the squirrels and birds, make sure they're eating. Thanks for listening as always. Don't forget this Sunday's podcast. A little bit more, not all about lying, compulsive liars, but one or two stories from people that, as I say, I have got their permission to relate to you, with name changes, of course. Take care. See you on Sunday. Bye-bye for now.